So, the NBA draft is in quite a while. It's like a month from now. But we are going to be doing some mock drafts right here. And the mock draft we are going to be doing this time is not just myself. We have got renowned Pistons fan, unbeatable Jacob here. And we are going to be alternating picks. He's going to start off with pick number 1. I got pick number 2. He's got pick number 3. And obviously, because of it not just being my mock draft, trying to pick the entire thing, or his mock draft, with the picks that he makes, obviously it's going to start to change some of my picks. So, anyway, without further ado, Jacob, how are you?
I'm doing well, and I'm gonna have odd picks here. As a Pistons fan, I've been pretty tapped in with the draft. I mean, the NBA draft has been like our Super Bowl over the last long time now. So I'm excited for it. Are you ready for me to kick things off here with the first selection?
The Super Bowl where you get the 5th pick again?
All right, the draft lottery is our Super Bowl.
Okay, yeah, you've got the first pick, and this will, I assume you're going with the consensus?
Yeah, I'm going to take Alex Sarr here. I'm not super high on Alex Sarr, but look, it just makes the most sense where the Hawks are. I think that's what's going to happen most likely. I think that if it was a different team in that top spot, there's a couple different situations where I'd maybe think outside of the box. But for the Atlanta Hawks, I'm thinking Alex Sarr is going to be the right pick.
Yeah, I don't think Alex Sarr is the right pick, but you're right. It's going to be Alex Sarr. It's Alex Sarr, without question, is going to be that right pick. The second pick in the draft, the Washington Wizards. I'm seeing so many Donovan Clingan to Washington mocks. I have to think there's some truth in it.
I keep seeing it too. I think if I'm the Wizards personally, I'm probably taking a higher upside swing considering where they're at in their rebuild right now, but I keep seeing it myself as well.
It depends on what they're trying to do, because obviously if you don't plan on playing Denny point guard and you plan on keeping Kuzma, I don't know where Risa Shea fits in. The more that I'm seeing it, the more I'm thinking about it, like, the Wizards seem like they're going to take in someone that's going to play right away. I think Risa Shea might come off the bench, but I'm going to go Zachary Risa Shea too anyway. He's 6'10" wing and they don't grow on trees.
Yeah, I think that's probably the accurate pick as well. Yeah, so for number 3, the Houston Rockets moved up here, and, they took a swing on Steven Adams despite his health concerns last year, so that just makes me think that they might be in the market for a big man. They're pretty filled out right now with other young players at other positions. Not too sure if they'd be interested in Topic here. I know they have a Men, of course, and Fred VanVleet. That would be my other option. But I think if they were going on the market last year looking for a Steven Adams type of player, I think they might be able to have a better shot at finding a Steven Adams type of player with Donovan Clingan, just considering Steven Adams' health and age.
Yeah, I mocked that as well. I don't know how much I rate Donovan Clingan. I think he's fine. He's going to be a fine NBA player. So at number 4, the Spurs, they're going to take a point guard. And it is, do the Spurs want to tank? And I'm thinking more, because supposedly the rumor is Spurs want high pick next year again. And that they think one more year and they're going to be sorted. So I actually think the San Antonio Spurs take and take and redshirt Nikola Topic at number 4. I think with his injuries record, his injury history this year, I think they redshirt him a year. That's a weird prediction, but I think they redshirt Topic at 4. Get him on a shooting machine, figure out his shots. He's already there playmaking-wise. And have him ready for the following year.
The upside is definitely there. Topic and Wembanyama pick and roll in the right situation with the right progression for Topic could be dangerous. So that puts us at number 5 with my Detroit Pistons. Obviously have quite a bit of sentimental value here with this pick considering it's my team. And I've already thought through it a lot. I think at this point, Matas Buzelis still on the board. Going to go ahead and take a swing on him. He really does fit considering his upside in the sense that if he turns into the player that would be the highest potential of himself, that's a great fit with Cade. A lot of Pistons fans dream about having Lauri Markkanen on this team. People have came up with all sorts of ideas on how to get him. That's not going to work. I think in a best case scenario, maybe 3 years down the line, Matas could be a pretty similar player to him. So that's what we're going to go with at number 5. We're going to take Matas.
For Buzelis, this is the one reason I'm not... I think he's going to go 5 to Detroit. But the one reason I'm not high on him is, like, he wasn't good in the Ignite. He shot terribly. He didn't play well. And had he gone to college instead of the Ignite, you're looking at him dropping below Isaiah into the... I'm playing that badly. He goes into the Isaiah Collier category of end of the lottery. So I think upside is there, but like we're drafting a guy based on what they were like in high school. And ironically enough, the reason he was projected to go number 1, because I don't think he was the number 1 recruit in high school, was literally because people thought of his potential. And he hasn't. He's just been... I think the idea of Matas Buzelis is better than the actual player. Maybe it all comes together, but I actually do think he goes to Detroit. I'm just not that high on him. And at 6, so Stephon Castle's not going to go here because he's not working out for the Hornets. Rob Dillingham's still on the board. I don't necessarily see Dillingham fitting in with Charlotte unless they just want LaMelo Ball's replacements. Or like an insurance player. But like, they got rid of Terry Rozier. Why would they replace Terry Rozier with Terry Rozier? And I was trying to think what players are on the board here potentially at 6 that could really help this Charlotte Hornets team. So, Clayton's gone. Like, Reed Shepherd's gone. Is it crazy to say? I think Ron Holland. Give me Ron Holland. I don't think that's crazy. I think he's projected to go around here. He's an athlete. He'll play defense. And I think he'll fit in fine with that team.
Okay. You did say Reed Shepherd was gone, but he isn't, right?
No, he's not gone. He's not gone.
Okay. Cool. I think that's probably who I would have went at 6, but Holland's a good swing there. I mean, it could work out well. These Ignite players are tough to evaluate. I mean, I know you mentioned Bazulis was bad at the Ignite. Ron Holland was a little bit better, but not much. Look, the Ignite are shutting down for a reason. You could maybe chalk some of that up to a bad environment, and I can see it for sure with both those guys. So both the Ignite guys are off the board here in the top 6. That takes us to number 7 for the Portland Trailblazers. I'm going to go Dalton Connect here. I think that with Sharp on the wing already, I think that they probably could use some shooting. I'm not really sure what they're going to do with their front court with Ayton and Time Lord, so I think that Connect is just like an easy shoe-in pick for a lot of these teams. I think a lot of teams probably are going to look at him because he does seem like one of the safer options here in the lottery. And I think right there at 7, I feel like he'd be just a good dynamic to add into that young core that they already have.
Jacob, he's closer in age to us than Alex Sarr.
I know, but hey, he wouldn't be the first guy who was 22, 23 coming in the draft, and if anything, was overlooked because of it. You know, you think Desmond Bane, if you can get Desmond Bane at 23 in the draft, you do it, right? Do you think
Dalton Connect is that good, though?
I buy it. I mean, you know, the reason why he took so long to even come out is because he had a really late growth spurt. So, you know, when he was the age of a lot of these prospects at 20 years old, he was 6'2", 6'3". So, you know, I think that he's probably on just a little bit different of a timeline, and I buy it. I think he has a translatable game. He can shoot it. I buy it.
Okay. So now we're at 8. I would have considered Dalton Connect to San Antonio. I really, really, really want to put one guy to San Antonio. He's not going to go here. I really want to put Zach Edey with Wembanyama. I really want to do it. I
thought you were going to say Saloon. I didn't think you were going to swing for that
No,
one.
that's what I am going to say to John Salone. And I think they're going to stash him.
Okay.
I think they're going to stash him.
Okay. The Spurs stash and draft. Okay, I see the vision.
I will
here.
say, the last player, as far as I'm aware, that the Spurs drafted and stashed was Adam Hanga, who never came over. So maybe they might just redshirt him a year, but I actually think they're going fully potential. They might bring him over, but I think they're going pure potential right here because DeJon Salone could be the best player in this draft. and I definitely mispronounced his name, but he could be the best player in this draft. Looks to have a higher upside than Reece O'Shea. Is a year younger than Reece O'Shea. Is a tall wing, can shoot it at a decent enough rate. Has been pretty good in the Pro A. Nothing special, but has been pretty good. And I like the idea of the Spurs just taking a French guy. So he's going to go here at 8 by default. As Melvin Ajinka's not going up to 8.
Yeah. I think that'd be interesting as well. I mean, the French connection definitely will get some eyes on it. So that brings us to number 9, and Memphis has this pick. Memphis is a tricky one because I feel like myself and probably other people as well kind of have lost track of what Memphis really has going for him, right? With Ja being out, Desmond Bane in and out the lineup. So yeah, it's kind of a tricky one here. Reed Shepherd is still on the board all the way down here at 9. I don't really see a great fit for Reed Shepherd in a backcourt that already has Marcus Smart and Ja Morant. But I think I'm going to go ahead and take him here just because the lack of bigs that I think would really fit next to Jaren Jackson. Just best player available type deal. I don't love the fit at all, but if Reed Shepherd's there at 9, I can see the Grizzlies or any team in that area, if he falls to a spot this low, just taking him and then figuring it out from there. So we'll go ahead and take Reed Shepherd in at 9.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, I very much could have taken Reed Shepherd at 8, and then I remember like when I would have mocked to Memphis as being like them going for centers. I was looking at like the rest of the centers in his draft and being like, do they take Zach Edey at 9? Is Khalil Ware going up to 9? Like, it's that type of situation with them. But at number 10 is the Utah Jazz. Who's still on the board? Dillingham's still on the board. Castle's still on the board. Cody Williams is still on the board. Oh, you know what? I think I shot myself in the foot not taking Castle at 8, to be honest. Because I actually don't think Utah are going to take Stephon Castle. Because I don't think he's working out for them. Because they've already got their point guard sorted. I actually don't think... I think he's like Spurs or bust with this draft. I'm going to say at number 10, the Jazz are going to take... Who's still on the board? You know what? The Jazz are like... They're in a high upside situation. I think they're cool with taking a guard. I actually do think they're cool with taking a guard. So, give me Rob Dillingham off the bench. Best player available. Him and Stephon Castle. Dillingham will probably work out for them. Castle won't. Give me Dillingham off the bench.
Okay. Yeah, there's definitely a trend here. I think we're higher than consensus on the Ignite guys and apparently lower than consensus on the Kentucky guards. So
they lost in the first round of the tournament and both of them sucked.
Yeah, they definitely did. They both don't have great size. I mean, there's a lot to like, but a lot to be scared of with both of them too. So I can see both sides of the coin there. Number 11. This is a tricky one because the Bulls, what direction are they going in right now? I really don't know. There's definitely a few guys here that I think would be okay in that situation. Maybe like Jacoby Walter filling in for Zach LaVine if he gets moved out of there. Cody Williams, better than Patrick Williams potentially. So there's a couple guys that I think I would like here at 11 for the Bulls. And I think that's the route I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go Cody Williams here for the Bulls. I mean, no one really knows what the Bulls are doing, so that kind of makes it tricky.
You're mocking. You're stopping the brother connection. You're stopping the two brothers on the same team.
Yeah, I guess so. They do have...
both Williams brothers going to the same team at the same spot in the draft, and you stopped it by one pick.
Yeah, that's tough. I didn't even think about that, but I think he'll find an easier time getting burned. I think Cody Williams might get a little easier time breaking into the rotation in Chicago than he would with that Thunder team, so maybe a better spot for him after all.
At number 12, I think, is the first team that is going to say, F you, we don't care that you don't want to play for us, we are drafting you. And at number 12, the Oklahoma City Thunder takes Stephon Castle. A guy who is a top 6 talent, but is likely going to talk his way into the end of the lottery. He could drop out of the lottery, honestly. But whichever team wants to say, screw you and your agent, we're taking you anyway. is going to be interesting, and I think Oklahoma City at 12, because like he's going to be one of the best defenders in this draft. And I'm going to say this now, Stephon Castle is probably going to be a better player than Reed Shepherd. Like, I don't know how much a 6'1" shooting guard is worth in the NBA, but I think Stephon Castle is going to be good, decent offensively, really good defensively, and he's going to be a 6'1". He's not a point guard. He's not going to be a point guard likely in the league, but he's going to be a 6'1" guard that can play a bit at the point. So I think he could be a very, very good player. So having him at 12 to Oklahoma City, I know they just got Case and Wallace. They've got they're gonna get rid of Josh Giddey though. So it really just, that starting shooting guard spot is there. And I know people are gonna be like, Isaiah Joe's gonna walk in. He probably is. Then Isaiah Joe's bench spot is still there.
Yeah, I think the Thunder having all these picks even in future drafts is gonna be weird because they might have a few high picks coming up here that they might not see burn. So that is interesting. At number 13, we got the Kings. The Kings need a lot of things. I don't love a couple of the options that are kind of mocked in this area for the Kings. I really think that they do need kind of a wing to come in and, just not exactly be another Keegan Murray, but just add another dynamic on the wing. Malik Monk is a free agent, and if you're looking to replace Malik Monk at a free agency, Jacoby Walter's right there. Probably the closest thing you're going to find to him in this draft. Whether it'll click right away for Jacoby Walter, that's another question. But I think that's who I'm going to go here at 13, is Jacoby Walter. I had him really high on my boards earlier in the year. I think there's a lot of upside there. And if you're looking to replace Monk, who is likely going to be out, the free agent, there's your guy to do it. So I think that's pretty much the best pick there.
Okay, that is interesting. I didn't think Jacoby Walter would go that high. I'm trying to think who's still on the board. We've still got what's his name? Collier's still on the board, isn't he?
Collier, yeah.
Collier's still on the board. It's Portland though, so Portland already have Scoot. If they want to keep Anthony Simons, they're good in the guard position. They've got Shaedon Sharp. So Portland need a lot, but I think Portland are okay center-wise. The way DeAndre Ayton ended the year last year, they're fine center-wise. I'm still high on Scoot. I think Scoot was just figuring it out, and he ended the year pretty well. I'm trying to think of like wing players that are going to help them, and I might go a little bit high on this guy. Like he's been mocked. I've seen him mocked anywhere. The highest I've seen him mocked is 16, but I've seen him mocked from not on the mock to late second round to 16. I think just as far as the ability to flat out score the basketball, his ability to play off the ball, like you don't need to play on the ball. This guy's got length. This guy can play really well off the ball. He shoots well. He cuts well. And he's going to be, I think, a really good player next to the guys that they have, especially because Scoot is going to dominate the ball. Shaedon Sharp is going to need the ball a little bit, and this guy doesn't need that. So at number 14, I'm going to go with probably the best player in the draft combine, a guy who's shooting up the boards and probably going to kill it in workouts because of how good a player he is. And you're almost always going to get someone good when you draft a Nikola from Serbia, especially when they play for Mega Basket. Nikola Jurisic at 14.
Okay. Yeah, I have just started hearing about him, so that is a high reach. You said you seen him mocked as high as 16 somewhere?
I've seen him size 16, yeah. In like a post-draft combine mock.
You know who I like Tristan Da Silva on a little bit of a reach too. That's where I would go if I was on 14. So got a couple sleepers mixed in there.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Collier. I really don't. Like, I just don't see where there's too many good guards in the NBA.
Yeah, there's a lot of guards in this class that have the same issues as him, but seem to provide more right away. That's how I see it, right? If you're looking for a guy who's going to play point guard and struggle to shoot a little bit raw, there's a lot of those guys in this draft, which just makes it tough, you know? Not a great fit for a lot of teams. So, yeah, I could see him sliding.
So who do you think is going to be... Who do you have as a steal of the draft?
In this situation, steal of the draft, with the way that it was mocked right now,
it doesn't have to be a team. By the way, it does not have to be a player that's mocked right now. It can be, who do you think, even after this, will end up being the steal of the draft?
I think either of the Ignite guys could be. If either of these Ignite guys go outside of the top 5, I think that there might be a situation where one or both of them come in the league. We're quickly reminded why they were mocked at number 1 and 2 at the start of the year. Everything that happened at the Ignite, more or less of a wash, bad program, getting shut down for a reason. They had a lot of things going on, probably inside that locker room and just in general. So I could definitely see a situation where one or not both of Ron Holland and Matas end up being the best player in this draft, in the long term.
I think this is going to be one of those drafts where we see picks, we see non-lottery picks, and like late first round, sometimes early second round picks being like some of the best picks in this draft. Like when I'm looking at steals, like I have Jurisic going 14, but if he starts to go into 20s, you're looking at a guy who's going to give you something right away. I think Adam Bonner from UCLA is going to be a monster. I think he's not that much worse than someone like a Donovan Clingan. I also think if it all comes together as far as bigs are concerned, like this guy is more skilled. He tested better athletically. He shoots the ball better than Alex Sarr. If everything comes together for Kel'el Ware, I think he is probably going to be the best. He could be the best. Not probably. He could be the best big in this draft. So him falling in the 20s, I think Kel'el Ware probably steal the draft.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned it, I'm just kind of looking through a list of prospects here, and I could go all the way down to 30 with this mock because I think a lot of the sleepers that I do like are going to be some of the later guys. Nobody who I would say I'm so sure are going to come in and make an impact, but some of these upperclassmen, Devin Carter, Tyler Kolek, Deron Holmes, I think a lot of those guys might be pretty good right away. And, we're looking at a Hami Jaquez situation next year where it's like, yeah, that guy should have went higher.
What's your opinion on Zach Edey?
Oh, I don't know. I was one of the people who felt like I kind of liked him as a prospect, maybe more than consensus. I saw him in person play here at the University of Michigan game, and he had a good game, but just what I saw from his ability to move and stuff like that, I don't know. He looked pretty not polished. I mean, not that many guys that tall ever have been, but it was just a lot of stuff where he was, taking advantage of college matchups, and I'm like, I don't know how this is going to fly at the NBA. I would not bet on him one way or the other, but I guess if I had to just take a shot in the dark, I think that he might end up being a serviceable player. I think if you're someone who's completely writing him off, you're probably not in the right line of thought there. I think he might be like a serviceable dude, talking 15, 20 minutes a game for 10 years in the league, adds a different dynamic, but I think a lot of it's going to come down to fit for him. He's got to be on the right team.
Yeah, it depends on where he gets drafted. Like, he could end up being an unbelievable backup center, a 15-minute-a-game guy. And then there's another scenario where he's a 2, 3, 4-time MVP of the Turkish league.
I was about to say, it's like I think I hear an upside argument, but I don't know about MVP. Yeah. So I was about to say
he's got I think he's gonna be worst case scenario for him. He is a legend in Europe. Like, if Walter Tavares, who's not half the player of Zach Edey, can dominate in Europe, Zach Edey can dominate over there. So, like, he could, if he doesn't make it in the NBA, he's going to make millions overseas.
Yeah, that from that side of things, he'll be all right. And another guy I do want to shout out is Bob Carrington out of Pitt. He's a hooper's hooper. This guy will definitely get a ball don't, or what is it? Ball don't lie. No, what's
ball
that?
Don't stop.
Ball don't stop. Yeah, he'll definitely get a ball don't stop tweet if he hasn't got one already before too long. So.
Ball don't stop calling DeMar DeRozan a 3-and-D player was brilliant yesterday.
Yeah, whatever that list was, I was so confused. I thought maybe he worded something wrong because that didn't make any sense.
Booker plays defense.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that is it. Anyway, appreciate you coming on. That is the mock draft for 2024. Unbeatable Jacob and Mick Talks Hoops. It's weird saying that and not saying and DBG, but yeah, I guess I'm just Mick now.